Are you ready to get out of the one person running a business kind of rut? This is Scale You, your weekly guide to growing your business like crazy. Every single week, we are inviting a lot of amazing guests to talk about entrepreneurship, AI, automation, the struggles of it, and everything in between. On Scale You, we guide you from solopreneur to becoming an unstoppable business owner. So ditch the struggle and let's scale you. This week's episode is a little bit of a special and funny episode because we're not just going to be talking about entrepreneurship, we're also going to talk a little bit about life and everything else in between with our amazing guest this week, Miss Connie Barrientos-Carey, who has someone I've been looking up to for a while, and she has had 19 years of unwavering dedication to the human resources landscape, bringing in her wealth of experience in driving organizational excellence through talent acquisition, development, and process enhancement. As an SHRM-CP certified HR professional, she definitely thrives in delivering tangible results and spearheading transformative initiatives. Okay, guys, so help me welcome our amazing guest today, Miss Connie. Hi, Miss
Hi, Miss
Connie.
Lai. Thank you for the invite.
Well, you were one of my. I know I invited you just to speak, but you're on the list when my assistant and I first made. You were one on the list. It was just like between traveling and everything
Yeah,
else, I
you're
haven't
super
actually
busy.
gotten to
You've
the
been
list.
everywhere. I don't know how you do it. Like between work and travel.
I don't know
Yeah.
either. So I'm first I'm very grateful that you're finally here, despite you kind of suddenly being a little bit sick, and super excited to also share your story with people. I've heard a lot of it just because we both have
Yeah,
shared the
we've
stage
been
multiple
at the
times
same
already.
event.
Yeah, so I would love to share that with people. So start off with what are the top 3 to 5 highlights of your life and what got you here?
I like this definitely the three highlights of my life was would be I would say definitely working in the BPO industry where I really work. Initially I was working 16 hours a day, Monday to Sunday, not just Monday to Friday. Because I
Wow.
would really say that really
Mm,
like made me. I learned everything there, like over being
mm,
overworked and underpaid, but learning as much as I can.
mm,
And the second highlight would be starting Aleph, like starting my business and of course getting married. Like I really thought and everybody thought it was never going to happen
mm,
for somebody like me, given
mm,
how strong-willed and how difficult my personality can be. It's not for everyone. Definitely, like it's
mm.
like the quote that says, like, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm definitely someone's choice of whiskey, and good thing my husband loves whiskey.
Mhm.
So
Perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. So yeah, I would say those are the three highlights, Miss Lai.
That's amazing, and like I know from like the back and forth on Facebook for the two of us, like commenting, like
Yeah.
I resonate on a lot of it, like the overwork underpaid. Like
Yeah,
I
we
did the same.
did.
Like I
We did. Like,
remember,
I think, like,
uh,
Miss, like I think I saw
mm,
some. I think as I saw a quote that said, like, anyone who's accomplished anything or is highly accomplished is a workaholic, or at one point was overworked and
yeah,
underpaid. Because like that's where
hmm,
you learn. Like,
part
yeah,
of it.
it's
Yeah,
part of it. You go down the trenches and just you learn what you can, and then you
yeah,
I
yeah.
I honestly, Miss, I think we had this conversation before that we both would never call ourselves experts, but we would call ourselves like constantly learning, because things are always
Yeah,
constantly evolving, and you
and
learn as
changing,
you
especially with
go.
like
It
AI and
changes with
everything. Yeah,
AI, definitely. It's like you would
yeah.
think that
But
I really would hate to just rest on my laurels and think, oh, I'm the best at HR or recruitment, because that's never going to be a thing, because it changes
mhm,
overnight, so you have to keep on learning.
yeah, it's funny because like a lot of people discount that they jump into business.
Mm.
They don't
I
even
would miss,
think that they have to like,
like, I
oh
would really say
yeah.
that, like, sorry, no offense to anyone who is in the family business, like, and a lot of my friends are in the family business. Sorry guys, I love
Mhm.
you, but I just have to be honest. I think, like, the best thing you can do for your kid is to, like, have them experience the world and business elsewhere, instead of having them like go directly to the family business, because you learn operations and you learn systems from
Mhm.
established businesses, and you take that to your family businesses, because that's what's happening, Miss. Miss Lai. Like people get promoted
Mm.
because they're COO, child of owner, and then like they didn't really learn anything anywhere,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then it's a
Mm.
mess. I really am glad that it took me. When I started Aleph, I was already, wait, probably more than 10 years in the business. So I had 10 years of
Mm.
experience under my belt. Because I really think that that's necessary. You don't just go into business immediately or soon after graduation thinking, oh, I know everything. That's the worst way to go about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's why a lot of companies also, up until now, they don't have systems and it's a mess. There was a joke that you have to be careful when a company says they're fast paced, because fast paced typically means they're not organized or without systems, so
Mm-hmm.
you have to be very careful about that. So yeah, I would really say experience is very, very important. Take as much as you can.
It's funny because like whenever I tell people, like for me, like when I say like, oh, I've been working from home for like what 13 years now, they're like, but you're only 28. I'm like, no, I started really
Exactly,
early.
because
I
you were
failed a
you
lot.
were in college, right? Like that's the most amazing story.
High
High
school
school, like
actually.
you were writing
High
stories, you were
school pa, yeah.
writing for Candy, which was like the bible of every high school student before. And honestly, Miss Lai, now that you mentioned that, I kind of miss those times when we had like the magazines from Summit Publishing. Like we had Candy, we had
I still have it
17,
in my trunk.
we had
Below my desk, I
Cosmopolitan.
still have candy
Yeah,
magazines.
right. Because I remember having a classmate who collected every single Candy magazine back then, and she would have like,
That was
yeah,
me.
and she would have, she would tape the edges of Candy because it would be passed around like people in the class.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she
Yeah.
really took care of it. So those were good times when we still had publishing, but I don't know what happened now. I don't know what happened to Summit. It's really sad.
I know.
Like
Well, they're
honestly,
still
Miss, it's
going.
kind
It's
of,
still
it
like
is, when I
online, yeah.
travel, like when we're in Europe, like a habit of mine, I really
Mm.
drag Simon to convenience stores, and the, like, we call that the newsies,
To be able
right?
to find.
Because they have so many
Mm.
magazines and newspapers like on display, and I get really, really happy because I don't get to see that here anymore. So like,
Well, I'll look
people
out for
stop
it when I go to Europe
reading.
myself.
Such a weirdo.
Well, it kind of is funny because like we like I was saying, we both have had these experiences where we did dive in, we
Yeah.
did go through the trenches,
Yeah,
go through the
exactly,
hardships,
exactly,
and then
Miss.
yeah, and then it took you like 10 years to be
Mm-mm.
now confident enough. Like, okay, I'll
Yeah,
start my
and
own.
that's why I miss,
So tell
like,
me more
that's
about
why I
Aleph.
was telling you before, like,
Mm.
Miss Lai, like, I really love talking to you, and like people like you who are
Mhm.
also entrepreneurs or legit entrepreneurs, like who do not sell a lifestyle but actually sell a product and a service, because you're the only guys who can understand how hard it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the
It's
highs
it's
and
it's
the
a
lows,
different
a lot of
monster.
lows, to be honest. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I kind of want to know a little bit more of your highs and lows, to be
yeah.
honest. Like, tell me more about Aleph, of like how you started that,
Oh yeah.
how you grew it, and like
Like
how you got it to this
before
point.
Miss Lai, so I was working for this company called Excel Asia. At that point I was
Mm.
already 5 years. So I was a site director. So Excel Asia was basically what Aleph is now. So it was, an HR consulting company. They focused on training, and they also did like executive search. So like I was just going through
Mm.
through the motions, and eventually I was like, oh, like it's been 5 years and there's no growth, and I want to go back to HR where I can focus, on just one company. But what I loved about working
Mm.
for a recruitment firm is that I was always in the know of,
Mm.
corporate gossip or whatever is going on in Cebu. What are the
Mhm.
changes? Who's the new player? Which
Yeah.
who's like paying the most, and like who's giving the best compensation package.
Hmm.
And then at that point, I was like, oh, I'm not going. I want to focus on HR and recruitment. So a client actually hired me. So I went to like really focusing in HR and recruitment for a while. And
Hmm.
then when I started just, focusing on just one company, Miss, I was still getting clients asking, hey, Connie, are you still recruiting? Because we really need you. Like, we need your help. Because
Yeah.
at that point, Miss, what I was constantly hearing from clients was that the recruitment companies or firms in Cebu were not very dependable. They would never endorse on time,
Mm.
and they were very expensive. Like, so, and the quality of the people they
Mm.
endorsed weren't even like high quality. So that was the most common complaints. And then, so I decided, like, you know what the heck? I've been like let's do it. So like, since I just that was my market research. So I was like, okay, I have clients, so let's do
Mm.
it. And so in
It was a proof of
2014,
concept.
like 2014, I was
Mm.
30, like um or like, yeah, I was 30 at that time, and I started Aleph. Um, so that's when I started it, and then it just like before we knew it, it was 10. It's already 10 years. And luckily, Miss Lai,
Mm.
like we don't really advertise a lot of majority, like 99% of our clients are referrals from other
That's
clients. So
amazing.
example, like one client referred us to Amazon, another client referred us to Del Monte. So it's like that. And I am well aware of how privileged I am, because like we really get Fortune 500 clients, and they're very big clients. And I we don't
Mm.
like go knocking on their doors. They come knocking, needing our help, which I think like speaks volumes about the quality of work we do, which I'm really really proud of.
That's amazing. And like, I remember the very first time I heard of you basically was when we needed help with a little
Oh
bit of our
yeah, I
own
remember
recruiting system. Yeah.
Jordy.
But then even before that, I was already kind of following you. Like I was seeing your posts, and I always love seeing them. So I remember that, and I know Jar, who's our
Yeah, she
recruitment specialist.
recruited. Yeah.
She like raved about you. She loved talking with you. Like,
And
and I
like
would hear her
Jardine, yeah,
stories. I'm like,
Jardine was like,
yeah,
I think like when we started working together, it was like Jardine needed help with, okay, how do you do recruitment? Like, what's the process?
yeah.
And then I was seeing the process, and I was telling Jardine like, you can shorten it to make it more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's when like, but we even before that, Messiah, I've really heard about you a lot because of your
Aw.
writing. You're a legend in terms of writing, content
Aw.
marketing, and all. So yeah, I've
Thank you.
heard of you
Well,
before.
well, I want to rave a little bit more about you because, like, I kind of want people to get to know you a little bit better as well. Well, yeah, heard from you, Jar, and then I think the first time we shared the stage was almost exactly
A
last
year
year
ago, like
for
in Lusitania,
Payer Year.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
July.
yes, July,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, July last year.
yeah, in Mactan,
Which is
yeah.
we instantly connected. We instantly started
Exactly.
talking,
And
and
then
then
like,
we
we couldn't stop
talked again.
talking. And then we drove you home. We drove you
Then
home. Yeah.
you drove us home. And then we were still
Yeah, the whole
talking. And then
time.
when we saw each other again for
Other events,
DashCon,
yeah.
then we also started talking. We were even the
Exactly.
two
It's
hosts
like a
for the conference.
exactly, Miss.
So it's like an
Instant
instant
connection. Yeah,
connect.
it's like I think it's like it's the common things that we went through, and like it's something that
Really
you can
recognized.
find with other people, and it's difficult
Mhm.
to you can fake it. It's rare because like I think like you just gravitate towards people, like in my case to you, like I really look up to you and respect you because like you're a
Aw.
legit entrepreneur, like you and then like you work really hard. And miss you, what I love is that you do a lot of work for the community. You don't even get paid for it. you don't even you don't even ask
We
for
don't want
payment for it. You just say give everyone advice. And I love how like it's always community based with you. Like you teach people how to use AI properly, whereas a lot of like quote unquote gurus online would be like, oh, I will tell you how to do this, but
charge
I will
first.
charge you X amount of money, and they're not even remotely good because they just learned.
Well, you're kind of the
Yeah,
same with Miss. The way that you post, the way you write, the way you think of things, like you're sharing the behind the scenes of it, the
yeah,
struggles and the unpretty parts of it as well, which gives people that context of like, oh, that's what it looks like.
it
So,
does.
For that, like for you, what was kind of the biggest struggles that you had to kind of conquer in the last 10 years that
In
you've
the
had
last
Aleph?
10 years, miss, to be
Um,
honest, the
yeah,
government.
and we talked talking
And
about
yeah, and
that in extended.
yeah, like like I could take on anything. Like clients, it's okay. Like never had problems with them. The government, definitely. And like Miss like did they also like now like what Miss BIR now wants you to like redo everything. So your like sales invoices, your receipts, you have to stop using it, and like you have to do something
That
else.
was
So
such a
I'm like,
stressful
it's the
thing
most stressful
when I
thing.
want to
It's
come
like
out.
like doing business in the Philippines is not for the faint of heart. I would definitely say that. Doing business is
Mhm.
hard, but doing business in the Philippines is times 10,
In the
yeah,
Philippines.
harder.
Yeah.
And like, where our government
Yeah.
agencies just comes up with rules from out of nowhere, like, and they just constantly change things.
Comply right
And
away.
you're
Yeah.
expected
Yeah.
to comply. And I remember I have my one of my godmother actually, like so
Mm.
so she was told like you have to pay X amount of taxes. So they tried to negotiate with and said like, oh, can we just pay staggered, like can we
Mm.
pay it a different way. And then apparently they were just told, yeah, just take out the bank loan. Like wow, like it's so easy for you to do that.
Wow.
Right, like yeah,
You
I
could
would
say it that
definitely
way.
say like
Yeah.
that's a biggest struggle. Like if you're kind of if I would never suggest entrepreneurship for somebody who easily gets discouraged. And like
Yeah. That's true.
easily if you
You have to be a
easily get
different breed.
discouraged, if you want everything easy, and like you don't like having to deal with stress and problems all the time, this isn't for you. That's for
Yeah.
sure. And like I would really say that the biggest thing you need when you're an entrepreneur is your resourcefulness. Another would be your persistence, and um
Yeah.
somebody to keep you in check. Like honestly, Miss Lai, without my husband, I would already have fallen apart a long time ago. Like, yo,
Well, it's the kind of because I've met your lovely
yeah,
husband, and like I've heard the stories between the two of you. Like it is, and it doesn't have to be like for a lot of people. Like for me, I'm lucky that I met Tom.
yeah,
Like Tom is like a dad to me. He's like this tall white guy who I call dad. But because of him, like I was able to start very early in my
yeah,
life. I started to XU when I was 23 because I had that
yeah,
mentor. Like for you, the partnership that both of you guys have, and I love the story of like how he bought your business so
yeah.
you never lose him. um is why it works. Like it people always ask me like how I got to this point of my life, and I always say it's the people that I surround myself with,
Definitely. Like
not
you
just the
you really
clients, not just the
need
partners.
like
Yeah.
people who really believe in you. Like, the sun like, rises and sets on you. And for me, before my husband,
Hmm.
it was my grandparents and my dad.
Yeah.
Like they always thought, they had more faith in me than in the Catholic Church. It was always like, you're too smart to be working for other people. I'm like, yeah, I'm too smart to be working for other people, but you didn't say that, I'm tougher than most people because I'm suffering right now. So
There you go. Yeah. It's true though. But it's like but it's the people who are like that, who are like that to our lives, and like we're very blessed with them.
like yeah,
It
I would really
that
say that beside like
Stick
we
with you.
we like you and I are both privileged to have these people. And like now the more people I meet, the more I realize how rare it is what we have. Like, people who believe in us,
Yeah.
people who are constantly cheering us on, and who really
Yeah.
think we
Yeah.
can do it, because apparently that's not very common.
Yeah. No, it's funny though, because like then like for the people that I've met so far who I resonate with, like you, and like of course Miss
Yeah.
Flair, and like all of the other people who I even gotten on this podcast, when I asked them that, I'm like, did you have a support group? Like, oh yeah, no, I had my wife, I had my best
Mm.
friend. So it's not common, but then it's easy for the people who do have it kind of gravitate towards each
Exactly.
other,
Like
because
it's like we can
we kind of
spot each
are used to
other,
that.
from a mile
Yeah.
away. Like, she's
Yeah.
going through what I'm going through. Like I was like when I first met Miss
Trauma
Flary, I
bonding.
was like, yeah, exactly, trauma bonding. So I was like talking to Miss Flary, like how there's like Alcoholics Anonymous. There should also be Entrepreneurs Anonymous. Like we should talk about, what we go
I
through.
would go to that.
Right? And like yes, that's why I like posting about beer being annoying, because I know I'm not the only one annoyed by it. I know there's so many of
We're
us
stressed out. Yeah.
annoyed by it. And it's just
Yeah.
It's crazy, like it's
It's
our
a different
hard.
thing.
It means like you more than anyone would know how hard we work to make the money we make so we can pay our people on time, and we don't even give
Yeah.
anything to ourselves anymore. It's we're last priority, and then you see like
Yeah. Last
yeah,
to be
last to
paid
be
also.
paid, and like you see articles
Yeah.
like, oh, like the VRT team like worked on the wrong intersection, like, oh, there goes our taxes.
Okay. What is no? I was I know we've this is a for anyone who's listening or watching. This is kind of a fun side
Yeah,
quest podcast episode for you guys to be listening in because we're kind of ranting about our own government and also talking about entrepreneurship.
yeah,
So I hope you guys are having fun. I remember watching your posts during December,
yeah.
like when I went home to Tacloban, and then the traffic that they were
Yes,
trying to
miss. The traffic was
fix, and then
horrible.
I'm
Yeah,
done.
and then
And then I was like,
that's why I was
okay, so
telling you,
that's
miss.
Cebu
It's
right
so good that you're not in Cebu at the moment. Don't come back until like second week of February or
until na okay
something.
na. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of it's funny because like you can also sometimes think of government as entrepreneurship, but they're not
Yeah.
as good as it
They're
at
not
it as
organized. It's like a family, like
yeah.
literally, it is a family business because a lot of times it's a dynasty. It's like one,
Yeah, it
like a
is.
kid taking over the dad, and so on and so forth. It is a
Or the
very
cousin or the
disorganized
nephew.
family
Yeah.
business. That's how I see the government.
Yeah, that's a really good way to to describe it. Anyway, so going back to your story as well now. So with Aleph and like the quality of people that you bring on and like the way that you're training and you're coaching and you're working with other people to do the same for their companies as well. What's kind of the value that you're trying to create? Like if there was an army of you, miss, like there were let's say there were like three
Yeah.
Connies, five, 100. Like what would the world look like basically if we had 100
If there were
Connies in the
100
world?
colonies in the world, there would definitely be a lot of order and
Robots.
organization for process, because I really love process and like data.
Mhm.
Like, don't come to me without data because that will really irritate me. Like, I always say that, and everybody
Yeah.
who's worked with me would know that, in God we trust, everybody else must bring data. And like don't come to me with
Mhm.
suggestions or like decision, and we didn't even like bring data into it. Like there was no proper weighing of things. And then another would be, and my husband would like really joke, like he would say it's Connie's greatest hits, like proper liquidation. If you used funds, liquidate it properly. So like
Mhm.
that would be it. Like, but at the same time also, like I've always been a proponent of it, Miss Lai. You really have to balance recognition and support for your employees with
Mhm.
accountability. You really have to demand accountability. And what I've noticed in the Philippines is that we are not big on that. It's like a lot
Yeah.
of managers, fear being disliked and being hated, so they can call out people who are non-performers. And unfortunately, a lot of times when you
Mhm.
tolerate a non-performer, you're making your
You're hurting everyone
performers like
else.
feel really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm sadly a victim to that, like as someone who was hardcore a people pleaser.
Yeah, that is why I was
Like
telling
trying
you,
to
Miss Lai, just tell them off. You will be loved nonetheless. Don't worry.
well, I'm still learning that, but like
It
it
it does,
is
like,
a thing when
especially in a
you're
country like ours,
yeah, sorting
Miss. Like,
out.
you can't be, you can't be belligerent, and you can't be like, you can't be demanding. Like, you just have to acquiesce to
Yeah.
everyone's requests, otherwise people will think you're horrible. Like, I think like the
Yeah.
biggest and most
It's a hard
important lesson
balance.
that I learned, Miss, is that I
Mhm.
don't really care about being disliked. Like, I'm doing my job. I just, like, I really think, like, people always say, like, people always mistake being nice for being kind. And I really hate that. Like, being nice will get you run over, but being kind
Mhm.
will mean that you do correct injustices and like things that do not work. So for me, you're being kind when you're correcting somebody's mistakes at work. So you have to be.
Wait a Miss Con, sorry. My camera is dying.
That is okay.
The funny technical difficulties. Wait lang. Wait lang. I noticed the flashing red
Oh,
light and I'm like, everything
EOS
will start
webcam
fading in.
utility. There it is.
Yeah. Okay. It's a good thing I have a backup battery always.
Always ready, Miss Lay.
Yeah. This is the first time it's happened on a podcast. It's happened on me just recording, but on a podcast is the first time that
I feel like
happened.
it's the first time
Like, oh
for
my god, okay.
everything. But yeah, I mean, like that's always what I like I've noticed in the Philippines. Like people always confuse being nice for being kind. Like,
Yeah,
being kind, like it's like, you actually respect the person enough to be honest with that person because you know that person can take the honesty.
mm-hmm.
And like
Yeah,
you don't treat the person as somebody, who is not smart enough to take it or understand it. And like yeah, being like they think like, I want to be kind, so I'm just going to let people do whatever, like,
not
that's
say
not
anything.
the
Yeah.
thing. If anything, like we were like my office mates and I were talking about it, like, if you don't correct spoiled children, eventually they will become problematic and they will become menaces to society. So, if you want to be
That's true.
kind,
Yeah,
like, correct them, like, yeah,
yes, early.
correct them
Yeah,
early, because like character is homemade, like, like like no amount of going to school for 8 hours a day for how many years will not correct that. It really depends on how they're trained at home. So it's the same at
yeah,
work.
it's true. Same thing with business,
Mm.
entrepreneurship, everything, all of that. Well, if we had to then, that's the order, the kindness, data, and I love hearing that from you because like I can imagine the amount of trauma that you had to go
Oh,
through for that to be your
oh
priority.
yeah.
So I can already think about it because I remember when I didn't prioritize systems and I was like, oh crap, okay, now systems is everything.
Yeah.
I know that flip over basically as well. But then if we had to like strip it down, like imagine the Captain America line of like, take away the suit, the money, blah blah blah. Who are you? So for
For
you,
me, to
Miss
be
Connie, who
honest,
are you
Miss,
like
like the
taking
thing that
away? Yeah.
really means the world to me are the people that I love. Like I just want to make things better for the people
Mm.
that mean the world to me. That's it. Like, if everything gets taken away from me, the thing that would remain is, my love for my circle, for my very small
Mm.
tight knit circle, and that's what matters to me. I
Mm.
don't want expensive cars, or like, like, yeah, it would be nice to have a golden visa in Spain and have a house in Spain, but I can't afford that. But that would be great, but it's not what I'm about. Like, honestly, Miss Lai, like I
Yeah.
always say this, like as long as the bills are paid, my people are paid, there's food on the table, and I have a roof on my head, and I can travel from time to time, I'm good. Like, that's all I'm
That's true.
about.
And it comes from love.
Yeah.
It sounds like everything that you do comes from that love, from that place of even especially the angry part,
Yeah,
I
like
guess.
I think,
Not
Miss,
even
this is what I say. Like the reason why I'm really angry all the time is because I am annoyed, because I still, at the end of the day, I still really love the Philippines. This is home.
yeah.
Like for so many years, my dad was like, why don't you go abroad? Like you're too smart to be living here. Like you're wasting
Hmm.
your talent in the Philippines. And I'd be like, but this is home, and I want to do my best for this country. Because if I leave, like every other like brainiac or every other talented person, which is already we can see in our brain drain, who will be left? And
Hmm.
I want to do my best for the
True.
Philippines. And I think that's why I'm angry all the time, because the opposite of love is not not anger. There's still feelings there. Like when I
Hmm.
stop caring at all, I would really say, okay, that's it.
Nothing
I
there,
don't
yeah.
really care about the Philippines anymore. But
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
I still do.
That's true. As much
As
as
much
we
as we
want to
want to
like care
not
about
care
other
anymore,
things.
like it's still
Yeah.
home. Like you kind of still like um hope. Hope is a dangerous thing.
Yeah. Like I don't know, like for the two of us, it's because like we've been in outsourcing for so long. We know how things work. We know how big the world is. But
Exactly.
like for you and me, like for me, like it's the helping 1 million Filipinos work from home. I can say like, oh, I want to help anyone work
Exactly,
from home,
Miss.
but like I
And
want to
like in
specific
in our
to
case,
that
like
love.
we help people get employed, so we want them to get jobs
Yeah.
that they like, where they're going to get paid better. Actually, like every time we do interviews and every time like we endorse people, and let's say, Miss, like this person's like current salary is 50, and then I ask like, what is your expected salary, and they just say 52. Like, no, I wouldn't let you undersell
Hmm.
yourself like that. Don't expect anything less than 20 to 30% if you move companies. So I really teach them to
Uh,
negotiate because like
which is rare.
yeah.
Like you don't see a lot of recruiters
And then like
actually advise
we're really
coach
picky
them. Yeah.
with our clients, miss. Like we check their
Mm-hmm.
we check their branding, and we check Glassdoor. We check like what their reputation is in the city and in the country. Because the last thing we want is
Mm-hmm.
to endorse our talents to a company that will burn them out, or will traumatize them.
That's true.
We want
That's
to
true.
give them
Well,
stability as well. Like
that and it's funny because like we both on the stability, like we both know like stability isn't really, it's not a full concept, it's not a real thing, but like as
no,
much
no.
as we can,
As much as we can. Like, there's
as
no
much
such
as
thing
we
as
do. Yeah.
stability. That's it. It changes
Mhm.
every day. Like, like what
Yeah.
we can just tell people is upskill and learn as many skills
Yeah.
as you possibly can, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
back in the day, miss, didn't they say, like, maybe in my period, like, because you're so much younger than me, back in my day, people were always told, take up accounting or take up IT, because those are the two most stable jobs in the world. And then AI happened, right? So
And
now
then
AI, like
now it's kind
accounting
of
is
like
one of the worst jobs because you can be replaced by AI. And then IT,
yeah,
like
true,
the
true.
programming language keeps on changing, and that's why IT people are paid
Mm-hmm.
a lot because it's risky. Like like we've seen that happen. So many programming languages
Mm-hmm.
came in when at one point it was um action yeah, it was action script. That was very, I was hiring for action script and then got replaced by HTML5,
Mm.
and things like that constantly happen. So there's no such thing as
Yeah, it's
stability.
moving. Yeah. Well, the best that we can always do, that we can always give to people as a piece of value, is that one, like it's basically kind of like from our talk. One is a little bit of that belief
Yeah.
because everyone needs it, because that's how we've survived. Two is a little bit of that upskilling of like
Mm-hmm.
encouraging them to get better and better at what they do. And of course, like there's our own kind of vision and of how we want to see the world and how we want it to grow as well. So thank you, Miss Con, for sharing a lot of your thoughts and your history and your background. I know a little bit better more of you now. So can you tell people what you're working on, where they can find you, where can they also find your amazing funny posts
Yeah.
as well?
Okay, so like so Aleph is constantly hiring, so you can just check us on Facebook. It's alephthalentsolutions.com, Aleph Talent Solutions, and our website is alephtalent.org. So there's a career page if you want to check. um, just because something won't be on the career board doesn't mean we won't be hiring for it eventually. So if you want us to find
Mhm.
something for you, just send your resume or something over. um, Also, if you, as Miss Lai said, if you want to check my post, just look for Connie Barrientos-Carey on Facebook, and you will see it there. So it's like random, like random ramblings, or from government to whatever. You'll see it there.
Amazing. Well, again, thank you so much, Miss Con, for being here. Even though I just invited you
Yeah.
this week, you're here already. I think you are our interview number 11,
Wow,
which is always a
means
good
you're
number.
very like
So
prolific. It's really fast. You just started it, this, and then now it's 11, and then constantly grows.
it's fun, yeah. So again, thank you so much, Miss Con, for being here, and we will always see each other
Of
around. And for
course,
everyone
miss
else,
you.
all
And
of the
we're
links are
always
gonna
like,
be below.
on Facebook. Like, I'm always cheering you on. Like, even though we don't see each other every day, I'm always rooting for you. You know that. I'm really excited for you.
Thanks, Miss Con. Well, me too. Well, you're my inspiration in a lot of things, so I'm always watching out for you too. Thanks, Miss Con.
Thank you, Miss Dai.
So I hope you guys enjoyed my interview with Miss Connie. Again, she is a phenomenal woman and a phenomenal brain and phenomenal person to talk to. So I hope you guys enjoyed our little bit of our ramblings, a little bit of advice in between on there, and as we talk about our passions in that episode. And again, all of her links to get to know her a little bit more is going to be in the description below. And of course, if you guys liked this episode, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening in from the other platforms, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. And of course, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our episodes here at Scale U. I hope you guys have an amazing day and remember that small steps matters, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye!